Thank you, Steve, Mr. McKay, Mr. Irving, family of our dedication here today to Private Peter Robertson. Members, veterans, members of the Coast Guard, ladies and gentlemen, it is a real pleasure for me to be here this afternoon. For the majority of Canadians, November the 11th, Canada's Remembrance Day, is a day to remember our brave men and women who paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom and our way of life. On Remembrance Day every year, we gather in numbers great and small across our country at cenotaphs and memorials, in auditoriums and in private homes for a moment of silent tribute to our fallen heroes. Today, November the 9th, also marks a solemn anniversary and a day of remembrance. It's on November 9th, 1917, exactly 94 years ago, that a letter was prepared by friends and platoon mates of Private James Peter Robertson from the front lines of Passchendaele to inform his family of his bravery and death in the line of duty. The letter reads, "We all lose in Pete, a good pal, a good friend, as he was very popular with both officers and men. In fact, he refused promotion to be with the boys as plain Pete instead of being an NCO. The letter went on to say he was a good soldier and did his duty well, a better soldier and truer comrade never stepped into a uniform." Private Robertson joined the 27th Battalion in 1915 and received the Victoria Cross for his remarkable valor during the final assault on Passchendaele, one of the most significant battles in World War I. Private Robertson is only one of 94 Canadians who have been honored with the Victoria Cross. On November the 16th, 1917, Private Robertson led his platoon in an advance that resulted in the Canadians capturing the enemy's machine gun, forcing them to retreat. Private Robertson single-handedly charged towards the gun, killing 4 of the enemy gunners with his bayonet, and then turned the gun on the enemy. His courage and his determination was the inspiration that ultimately led his platoon to victory. Carrying the enemy machine gun with him, Private Robertson led the charge to Passchendaele. Upon returning to their own lines, the platoon discovered that 2 of their snipers were severely wounded outside the trench. Without being asked, Private Robertson ventured into no man's land to rescue both men. Despite placing himself in extreme danger under heavy fire, Private Robertson managed to carry one of the injured men to safety. Sadly, he was killed while trying to save the other wounded soldier. He was only 34 years old. Considered one of the Passchendaele 9, he is one of 9 Canadians to be awarded the Victoria Cross as a result of their bravery in that bloody battle. When the Victoria Cross was presented to Private Robertson's mother, the Lieutenant Governor said, "This cross is only a small thing, but it's engraved with the words for valor, which means a great deal. Money can do much. With money, titles can be bought, but money cannot buy the Victoria Cross. It must be won by valor and service." Today, I'm humbled to unveil the first Canadian Coast Guard Hero Class patrol vessel. This vessel is named the CCGS Private Robertson VC. No tribute, no medal or speech could capture the heroism that this brave young soldier showed, nor can we ever put into words our gratitude to him and to his family for his ultimate sacrifice. We have the privilege of sharing this tribute today with his grandnieces, Mrs. Lynn DeBay and Mrs. Peggy Carlson, and his great-grandnephews, Lori Seitz and Tim Casner, who are with us here from Alberta and British Columbia. Welcome and thank you. We are proud to name this vessel in your uncle's memory. We have called this class of vessels, 9 that are currently under construction, the Hero Class, and will name each after true Canadian heroes who, in service to their country, bravely put their duty ahead of their own safety. This is one way we will keep their memory alive and ensure that future generations never forget about their sacrifice. Like many members of the Canadian Coast Guard, Canadian Forces, and Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Private Robertson risked his own safety and security to protect not only our country, but also our freedom and our way of life. Canadian Coast Guard vessels are strong symbols of safety, security, and sacrifice, and naming these vessels after heroes like Private Robertson is a fitting commemoration. I'm proud to unveil this vessel today so that Private Robertson's legacy and the legacy of all our fallen heroes will live on as the Coast Guard continues to serve and protect Canadians from coast to coast to coast. The citation etched into Private James Peter Robertson's Victoria Cross medal reads, "For most conspicuous bravery and outstanding devotion to duty and attack." Let us keep the memory of the service alive and etch his sacrifice in our hearts this day on November the 11th and every day we live in freedom, lest we forget. Thank you.